Business Casual. I'm Emily A. Warren, small business copywriter and marketing consultant, and of course, yours truly, podcast host. You are in for a treat with this bonus episode. No tricks, I promise you. One thing I've just really love about being a podcaster, there's a lot of things, but one thing I really, really love, and specifically being your podcaster, is that this gives me an opportunity to really come up with new ideas and ways of self-expression and growth and use this as a tool for collaboration. It really is my little playground here. You and I are like holding hands, sliding down slides, and going on those whatever death-defying spinny things. All the while, we're making learning and business ownership a little bit more fun and easy and kind of like you have someone in your corner. So one of the ways I really love doing that is, as you've probably noticed, is collaborating with individuals when the spirit moves me, of course. So, for example, by now, my show is a solo show. I do not have guests. I do not accept guests that pitch me their ideas. But sometimes I will get an idea. And for example, I've had on like my best friends, Lindsay Dreyer, my best friend in the whole world, my husband. I re-aired that episode of Dave Campbell's as he was sharing his message on the Podcasting Made Simple podcast. I've collaborated with my fellow collaborators, Barb Davids and Andy Lyons, and elevated and amplified their voices and messages too. And definitely more of that on the way. But in the nature of collaborating today and also showing love to a fellow business owner, which I'm actually going to be talking a little bit more about next month, but in the nature of collaborating and frankly, letting somebody who says things far more eloquently than I could, I wanted to share this episode with you from Jenny Belanger's small business website design made simple show. I heard this episode a couple weeks ago on her show and I reached out immediately and I was like, oh my God, can I share this with my people too? So to give you a little background, Jenny is a WordPress website designer. She's also a fellow New England podcast group member. And Jenny and I have the benefit of working together a lot to help people create, in both of our words, personality packed websites, but also websites that make money, websites that make you sales, right? And websites that build your brand and websites you're proud to share. So you're handing your business cards out and you're not like, okay, here's my business card, here's my website, don't look at it, please. I hear people say that to me all the time. Now, I often speak to how one of the biggest mistakes I see people making around their copy and on their websites and in their content, they make it kind of like the me show, or I guess they neglect to kind of like meet their clients where they're at in the journey. Jenny said it even better. Jenny said it so much better than I ever have. So on episode 96 of Website Design Made Simple, called the website problem every expert has, but no one talks about, Jenny talks about something called expert syndrome or expert overwhelm, which is basically when we as small business owners try to pummel people with our credentials and expertise, but we miss this one key thing that we should be doing instead. So I wanted you to get this kind of lesson from her mouth because I thought it was such a good one. And I also wanted you to have the chance to learn about a new podcast, learn from one of my favorite website designers and collaborators, and lift somebody else up in the New England Podcasters group. So on that note, here we go. And when you're done listening, make sure to check out Jenny's info and show in the show notes. I will also have a link to the company that she mentions, but Jenny really is there and I am here for you too. We collaborate together to really help you tone down that expert and turn up the connection on your website. So let's get into it. Take it away, Jenny Belanger.
Picture this. I am on a strategy kickoff call with my client, Deb. And within the first 5 minutes of chatting about her business, she is explaining to me the 9 hallmarks of aging, talking about cellular senescence and evidence-based protocols for longevity. And in my mind, I am thinking this woman is brilliant. And also, I'm not sure what she just said. And what hits me is that if I am confused at this point in time, and I work with a lot of experts, what will her potential clients be feeling when they land on her website? And here's the thing about Deb. She is a true expert. She's got a master's in functional medicine, genetic testing certification, nutritional specialist, physical therapist, you name the credential, she has it. And she found me actually through this podcast when she was launching a new business called Rebranding Aging for You, helping people navigate their aging journey. We hear about imposter syndrome, and a lot of people have that out there. But I think that there is another side of the world, the experts out there who are struggling with a different problem, wanting to share too much information and how to get the right information in the right increments on your website to have your visitors be able to understand what you do and actually take the action that you want them to take. Today, I'm going to share Deb's story and, more importantly, how we transformed her expertise from overwhelming into a site that is performing for her. And I think that you're going to find some good information in this, especially if you are one of those experts. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B., web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. We're talking about expert syndrome. Is that a thing? There's imposter syndrome, where people just don't have enough to say or are in fear of sharing out their voice with the world or announcing that they're in business. We hear a lot about this online. But there's the other side of things, the expert overwhelm, when someone is a true expert in their field and they just have so much knowledge, but they don't know where to start and what to share, and they want to share all the things. Before I get into the episode, a quick introduction for those who I haven't already met. My name is Jenny B, and I own Jenny B Designs. We are a brand and web design studio, and my passion is helping small businesses design beautiful and high-functioning websites that attract their ideal clients and encourage them to work with you because they show you as the expert in your field. And you make the connection with these potential clients, and they know when they get on your website that you are the person to solve their problems. This is my passion, and I love working with experts. In fact, over the years, I've worked with a bunch. And it's fun because I have this power of being able to cut through everything and get to the heart of what needs to be on your website and what are we trying to get people to take action on. And how do we do this in the most succinct manner as possible? Because I truly believe less is more. We are using Deb's website, Rebranding Aging for You. We launched it a few months ago as my expert example. I have been doing case study episodes, and these have been one of my higher listened to episodes. And so today, the twist is how to talk about Deb's website and her launch, but also share with you, if you are an expert out there, how you might be able to structure your website to get your potential clients to take the action that we want them to take and to learn about what you can help them with. Deb's challenge was that she is an advanced science expert. Truly was. She has certifications in so many different areas. And she has decided that she wanted to focus on those in the aging process. And she wants to help people live younger, longer. That is her tagline. Now, she has some competition out there, right? She is competing probably against a lot of online influencers who are on Instagram or TikTok who oversimplify the material. Truthfully, a lot of influencers out there aren't certified in anything sometimes, or sometimes they have a few certifications, not like Deb's status. But online in the social media world, it tends to oversimplify things. Her target audience are smart people over 40 who want science and not trends. Now, Deb being an expert, and if you are an expert, how you might be showing up and how this expert overwhelm shows up is that sometimes you lead with credentials instead of client problems because you have so many credentials and because it is so important in your field. You tend to lead with these credentials. You might be using industry jargon, requiring like a degree to understand what you're saying because it's, secondhand for you. But industry jargon isn't known to someone like me. You might be explaining methodology, how to make things happen versus the benefits of someone that's going to get when they work with you. And there might be too many complex concepts at once. That is how expert overwhelm could show up. And how this translates into your website is that if they go to your website, someone might say, this is really impressive, but I'm a little bit confused. You also might see high bounce rates. Someone goes to your website and they leave right away, despite having super valuable content. And it could also mean long sales cycle because people just don't understand what you offer. This is how expert overwhelm shows up. In terms of Deb, we decided that we wanted to lead by the education first. That is what we wanted to do. A lot of health coaches online lead with book a consultation. That is where they want to take the first step in the sales process. This is what I say, what is the first step in your sales process? For Deb, her first step and what she wanted people to do was to educate themselves. She wanted to share the information. She says, let's follow the science, not the marketing. And she wants to educate her clients, which is a form of pre-qualifying them. The serious clients want to read, want to learn more versus the quick fix seeker. She wants to work with someone who is really serious. For her website, we determined that there were 3 different pathways that she wanted people to go down. The first pathway was actually learning. She has a lot of content on her blog. She wanted people to learn on her website, drive them to the blog so that they are reading her content. The second pathway is for people who are ready for community. She has a mini tribe program. It's basically like group training where she can really take a course and customize it. That is the second way that people can work with her. And the third thing that people can do is she has an ebook. There's a low-cost purchase for an ebook where she shares about these hallmarks of aging, and people can download this and educate themselves on more information. That is her 3-pathway strategy. Looking at your expertise website, what is your strategy? What do you want people to do? Are you trying to educate people until you know that they are going to be ready to work with you? Are you trying to get people on a consultation call? Do you have a group program? Is that what you're driving people to? Understand what pathways that you have on your website, because that's the first step. And then everything else will be structured around this. The key changes that we made to Deb's website in terms of how we are leading people through the website is the homepage talks about people's aging concerns, not scientific framework on how she can solve their problems, but aging concerns. Asking the question, are you ready to understand the science of longevity? Would you like to slow your rate of aging? Things like that so that people can self-identify if they are in the right spot. On the services page, we made sure that she had the 3 different pathways that she wants people to go down when they are working with her. And I use this in quotes because she wants people to educate themselves. And so they're not necessarily working one-on-one with her, but they're educating themselves. And we have on the services page her mini tribe. This is the group program. It's broken into clear, understandable sessions on what's going to happen when they work with her in this group program. On the About page, what's important is that we have credentials that are supportive to how she can help her potential clients, not intimidating. If you look at the page, it's not a page just of her certification listed down on a long line and that's it. No, in fact, on the About page, we talk about her story, how she can help. We use bullets to break up her copy, talking about her mission, that it's to make things as easy and as efficient as possible so that you can stay independent, vibrant, and disease-free. Everything that we do is a story. We also shared some things that are important to her and some Deborah Innate, we call them, her biggest personal turnarounds, her pet peeves, her hopes for her patients, the next fitness challenge she's taking, just to create that emotional connection, to have people build that connection with her so that they know that she's more than just all her numerous license and certifications. Add that personal touch to the page. And you can see what I'm sharing at Rebranding Aging for You as I go through her site. Now, this is a 3-bucket framework. Bucket 1 is we need to know about the problem that someone is having. We need to talk about it in the language that the person is having this problem is. And they need to know about your solution in simple explanations. And then what they need to know to take action, the clear next step, the call to action. What do we want them to take? So in terms of your website, the expert website, if you look at your website right now, can someone explain what you do after looking at your website for less than a minute? Will they know? Are you leading with your credentials on your homepage, on your about page, or are you leading with your client benefits? What is your potential client going to get when they land on the site? Are you trying to educate and sell on the same page? Understanding what you're trying to do with your website. Deb, she wanted to educate, and then she had 2 ways that people can work with her, sell, if you want to put it in that framework. What is it that you're trying to do on your website? A lot of mistakes that I see is talking about methodology instead of the results, explaining the how before the what and the why, and assuming that your visitors want all the details up front. I don't think that they do. We are all so busy and we are doing so many things at once and our brains are super, super busy. It's too much when you have everything listed out top and center. I think that if you can share the essence of what you do, and then share the details at a different time when someone is getting ready to work with you, maybe on that consultation call, or maybe when you're actually getting to work, then you can talk about all the details. But you need to understand that when someone comes to your website, they are busy and they want to understand the heart of what you do in the easiest way possible. And then, of course, talking about credentials instead of clarity. It's important to be clear. I always say clear over clever. Now, there is an expertise sweet spot, like Deborah. You want to demonstrate knowledge, but you don't want to overwhelm. You also want to show depth without losing people. And this is important because there are so many people out there in the world and in social media talking about the anti-aging, like Deb is, but she knows so much more. You do want to show depth, but you don't want to lose people. And this builds your authority, but at the same time, it keeps you approachable. You're using your expertise to serve your potential clients and not to impress. And in terms of Deborah and your website, make sure that there are multiple entry points for your visitors. You perhaps might be writing a lot of blog posts because I think that's an important aspect if you are an expert. Show your expertise out there, and you may be writing a lot of blog posts. Understanding that when someone comes to your website through search because they found your blog post, do you have information on your blog post page showing them what you want them to do, sharing the next action, sharing a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then guiding them on their journey? Understanding there are multiple entry points. And of course, having those beginner-friendly starting points. For Deb, it's a lot of just reading her blog. And then she walks them through downloading her book. That is the next beginner-friendly starting point. And then it's her mini tribe, her group program. So there are 3 different tiers. That is pretty much the expert dilemma. Here is what you can do. If you think that you are an expert and it is showing up, your expertise is showing up in your website, what can you do? Look at your homepage. Is it about them, your potential clients, or is it about your credentials? Can visitors understand your value in 10 seconds or less? And do they have clear next steps matching their readiness? And this is important because you have so much expertise. You are trying to educate and get them ready to take the next step with you. Are there clear next steps matching their readiness in different areas? For Deb, read the blog. You can download the book, or we can work one-on-one. It all is a different step that matches their different levels of being ready. So to put it in my final closing thought, being an expert is only an asset when people can understand it. If someone can't understand it, it's not going to help you in terms of your website. And think about keeping everything as clear and as simple as possible. You want your knowledge to clarify, not complicate. This was kind of an interesting episode for me because I feel like I said before, you hear all about the imposter syndrome, but not so much about this, and I'm not going to call it expert syndrome, but expert overwhelm. And this is how you go about tackling that when it comes to your website. And if you think that you might have this expert overwhelm happening on your website and you want a second pair of eyes, I would love to take a look at your website. I have a website audit where I do a deep dive into what you got going on in front and behind the scenes of your website. And I share with you a report on what you can do to make your website work a little bit better for you. So you can find more information about that in the show notes. And I look forward to chatting with you next time.
Thanks for joining me on this week's episode of Small Business Casual. If you're considering a rebrand, starting something new, or ready to upgrade your website copy to reflect the brand you've already built, I'd be delighted to help you find just the right words for your business. Reach out to me at emilyaborn.com and I would love to hear from you.